Hello, Algebra 1. Today we're going to start learning a process of solving quadratics called completing the square. And I'd say we're going to start learning this because I'm going to divide it into two separate lessons. So you'll get the first one today, you'll get the second one early next week. So let's get started on what is completing the square. And we're going to start by, we are familiar with the standard equation, ax squared plus bx plus c of a quadratic equation. But what we want to start with when completing the square is we want our terms with an x on it, or a term with a variable on it. We want that on the left side of our equation. We want our constant moved over to the right side. And this is going to be just the first step in learning synthetic division. We're going to be dealing with b. Our middle coefficient plays a big role in completing the square. And all we're going to do in this first half is we're going to identify what b is, identify b over 2, and finally b over 2 squared, what that equals. And this is basically all we're going to do in this first part of the lesson of completing the square. We're going to learn how to get what these numbers are. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. So let's go ahead and erase the top one up here. Okay, so let's say we're given the equation x squared plus 16x plus 65 equals 2. Okay, let's remember our goal was to get our variable terms on the left side and our constants on the right. We have a constant on the right over here in 2, but we also have this constant hanging out on the left side, 65, which we need to move over. Now, how are we going to do that? We're going to subtract 65 from each side. So we will end up with x squared plus 16x, those will cancel out on this side, equals a negative 63. And this is what we want. We wanted our variable terms on the left side and our constants on the right side. So now we're good. So that's kind of the first step in this. Next, we need to identify b divided by 2, and then b divided by 2 squared. So what is b? That's this coefficient right here, 16. And now it's simple math from here. So what's b divided by 2? 8. B divided by 2 squared, well, that's 8 squared. That's 64. That's the extent of the lesson today. Okay. Let's try looking at one more example here. X squared minus 12x minus 18 equals negative 5. Okay, so again, we want our variable terms by themselves on the left, and we want our constants on the right. Well, we already have our one constant over here. We have this constant of negative 18 hanging out on the left side. We need to move that over. So we're going to add 18 to each side. From there, we'll get x squared minus 12x. Our 18s are going to cancel out. And that's going to equal negative 5 plus a positive 18 there, which gives us a positive 13. Okay, so we've taken care of the first step, which was rewriting our equation. So we had our variable terms on the left side and our constant over on the right. Now we need to identify b. We need to identify b over 2. And then we need to identify b over 2 squared. All right, so what is b? It's this number right here. It's 12. And we have to include the sign. Okay, so our b equals negative 12. B divided by 2, that's negative 6. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. And finally, we're going to square that negative 6. And when we do square that, that equals 36. So I ran out of room there, but b over 2 squared equals 36. So that's what I want you to work on in today's practice. I want you to practice rewriting the equation when it's given to you to make sure that your constants are on the right and your variable terms are on the left. After you do that, identify your b, and then go ahead and do the math. Identify b over 2, and then finally what b over 2 squared is. So hopefully this helps you getting started on the process of completing the square. So if you have any questions, please email me. Otherwise, go do your homework.